Hi guys, we are here for this week's edition of How to Build Your Own Rome, episode 11, I believe, Rich.
It's 11 whole episodes. No half episodes.
No half episodes?
When people say that, it's 11 whole episodes.
Well, most
I
people
ate
don't.
a whole
You
cake.
did.
So who are we talking about today then?
Well, it can be the only one, the 45th President of the United States.
You know how many there have been? That's
No,
really
I just
good.
read it in Evan
Oh.
Carmichael's book.
You could have got away
This
with
is
that.
no, I'm not that clever. No,
45th.
nobody
Do
would
you know who
believe
the first president of the United States was?
that. Not a clue.
No, neither do I.
We should look that up before we
should look
started.
that up. I want to say... Who's the one with the hat?
No,
It wasn't
well,
Churchill.
No.
Oh, he's the English presidents. The dog.
Yeah, Churchill the dog.
You said Prime
No,
Minister.
no. Just sit there and say no all the time. Why are we talking about Donald Trump anyway? What's come on?
Because,
Let's do it.
well, usually on these shows we try and talk about someone that has done well and how they've built their own empire from nothing. And I don't know if he's built an empire or a Disneyland, but it'll be interesting because we have completely different views.
Yeah,
about
we got
this guy.
different views on Donald Trump. Actually, we Rich, you're not a great fan, are you?
I'm not. I don't like the guy at all. I'm not a fan. I don't think anyone can get into being president without doing some dodgy stuff along the way. That's my theory. So anyone who gets into that position, I think from JFK onwards, has been a bit dodgy, and that's why
Okay.
they shot him.
What, JFK or Trump?
Not yet. Although he was in this. Do you remember you see the Simpsons episode where they predicted that he'd be president?
Yes. Now it's a bit scary, isn't it? And a lot of the Simpsons stuff, they went through all the, and they decided that the guy who wrote the Simpsons was obviously a time traveller because actually, if you watch back, it's a little bit spooky on how exact it is. But they predicted 9/11. They predicted the bit with the escalator when you're going down the escalator and the way he waved and the people in the background. It was like identical. It's like somebody had just drawn a cartoon from that little clip of.
It was really bizarre. Yeah, and also there's been so many of these type of things through the years. There's been Michael Jackson did an album called Blood on the Dance Floor. And it was the Masonic flooring, and the Twin Towers are going down in the background.
Yeah,
and that was 1997.
Yeah.
There's been so many of these things. There was other films as well. Family Guy is a good one for that. Family Guy predicted.
Is that not written by the same guy though? Isn't it?
No, that's Seth MacFarlane or McFadden.
Oh no, it's Futurama. Isn't it? Futurama's written by
Yeah.
So really, really strange. But yeah, and then Donald Trump's in there, and he it's just. Yeah, it's quite just so scary how exact they got that
It really
scene.
is. So what makes you think though? So my point is that he was always going to be there. That was all a plan all along to put this Humpty Dumpty in the Numpty house.
Humpty.
And so what's your take on that then? Because you've clearly seen that.
I just think things are. I don't know. So you're very much like conspiracy theorists. There's always something dodgy going on in the background, that sort of thing. Yeah. I think the guy's done really well for himself. I remember interviews of Donald Trump with Oprah and people like that who were asking him to run for president when he was, sort of 20 years ago. And they're saying to him, so when you're running for president, why won't you run for president? And things like that. They actually wanted him to because he was, just the guy who he was, and people looked up to him because of how well he was doing and what he'd achieved. And then when he actually goes and runs for president, people just can't wait to slag him off.
Well, it's funny because I don't think they think anyone thought he would win. He even stood a chance.
Well, I think, my point of view on him winning and Brexit and UKIP and all this sort of stuff and how well they done over the last 5 years, I think it's just a protest, to be honest, against the establishment. It's a protest against the way the British Parliament is set up. It's just so old-fashioned, isn't it? Everything we do is so old-fashioned. Everything's based on 500-year-old laws and all this crap sitting around, sitting in court with bloody wigs on and all this sort of. I mean, it's really not necessary. It is pantomime. It's not necessary in this day and age. And I think it's a bit of a protest against all that sort of crap going on. I mean, there's on Facebook this week. There's a video and lots of comments of one of the MPs falling asleep.
That happens all the time.
There's so many videos of the House of Commons with like 20 people asleep, and if that was a member of staff at work, you'd sack them, wouldn't you? You'd give them a written warning. Yeah. These people are working for us and being paid to do that job. They can't even stay awake.
And they know they're on Channel 4.
And they know they're being filmed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to fall asleep, you get up and go and
Go and have a nap.
Go and have a nap
crawl
somewhere.
down between the
or
benches.
lay down behind the
yeah.
benches.
You're on chat. Oh, get down there. Get down there.
But-
Corbyn's on the floor again. Underneath the benches. Underneath the arches.
But
I
yeah,
think-
so I think it goes on everywhere. I think all of this crap's going on all out throughout the world. And the thing with Donald Trump, I don't want to use the word admire him, but I admire the fact that he is in a situation where he can pretty much say what he wants to say.
But
do what he wants to
admire,
do.
like, do you admire what he, like, in my opinion, what he pretends to stand for, what he stands for? So say he does stand for that, and it's all true. So you admire what he stands for, the right to say what you want, the anti-establishment, or is it him?
That's I think it's both, yeah. Yeah, both, because I think it's I think there's when you've got somebody who's so in a position of wealth, it's not about money anymore. It's not, that's not a criteria or a reason for doing it. He can be far more open about his point of view, and if people don't like it, he doesn't care. And it's a really nice position to be in, and he's the first president that's ever been in that situation.
But he has gone back on a lot of what he said, like the border thing, that he was going to put a wall up. I like the language he uses, because he doesn't bother with the language. He doesn't be politically correct or anything.
No.
I find that hilarious. I like watching it. I think he's
that
really
is the bit.
entertaining
That's
and
the
funny.
bit I like. Where I'm not saying I like the fact he's not politically correct, but I like the fact he doesn't have to pussyfoot around comments and things like that. And I don't know if you liked the video I shared last night actually of just this talk about how we all pussyfoot around things which really don't bloody matter.
Really good.
You know,
that political correctness. It was to do with race, wasn't it? Using
yeah.
And
it's I mean, it just doesn't matter. I mean, I don't think it's. Everyone's so worried about what they say and do nowadays. So worried that they don't say or do anything.
Oh yeah, you're putting straight into a box.
We just won't do anything.
Yeah, don't do anything.
Anything. If you don't do anything, you can't get it wrong.
Well, I've always said this. It was a few years ago. I don't know where I read it, but the fact is, you take offence to things. It's not for you to. People go around the world taking offence, doing it themselves. They're the act of being offended.
Yeah.
Like that's your
and
decision.
to you, it doesn't actually matter.
No. So I don't really care if anyone's offended, because they've done it. They've chose to feel offended, or they felt offended and chose to act a different way. This is not really important. So I think he kind of epitomises that. But I do think, everybody's so, what do you call them, kind of like airy-fairy. There's no backbone. It's almost like they're trying to get rid of the human instinct to...
Well, you're not allowed to think for yourself, do what you want to do or anything anymore. It's not, that's not... and I think that's why social media has become so powerful. There's people on social media who... well, for instance, there's a 14-year-old girl that sings and gives her opinion on things on social media, and I think she's got 6 million followers.
That's ludicrous.
Right, the Prime Minister has got like 100,000. Who's got more influence? Yeah, and it's quite scary at this young girl. I mean, if she put a fake news out and shared one of these fake news things about Donald Trump, how much influence that would have.
From what I've seen, like through the years, a lot of this fake news, I think he's latched onto that term and jumped over to like the mainstream alternative media. They're mixed.
Yeah.
You get people in the alternative media that are just as bad as anyone on NBC and ABC News. They're just making up stuff all the time. So you have to take your own critical... have a look at it.
Is it making up stuff, or is it exaggerating stuff just to
making up, getting attention, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts. I love a conspiracy theory, but I don't take all. I do find it hilarious, and I enjoy the thought and the conversation, and the thought of there's other things going on in the world. It keeps me engaged. But I don't believe it at all.
I think it's really important with a conspiracy theory is that you remember it's a theory.
Yes.
It's there's people who don't. There's people who get so wrapped up in something that they it becomes 100% truth. Yeah. And what they need to understand, without doing any research and just listening to a few videos from...
Well, how many theories that have changed through the years that aren't true now, that we believed in so much? Well, I say we, I didn't, but...
You weren't
which is another one that really annoys me, because there's no we about it. I didn't do anything. I wasn't there. But, like, what was a thing I read a few days ago when it was the origins of species. Who's that written by? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
He didn't write it on his own, but his dad was a 33-degree Mason. He funded the book, and another guy called Wallace wrote the book, helped him write it, but didn't agree with the fact that it was for survival of the fittest. He said that happens in the animal kingdom, but man can't survive like that because they have to work together.
Yeah, we have to group. We're a.
But but in the Origin of Species, it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Which is not what he was saying.
It wouldn't work at all, would it?
But that's why they published the book with the guy, and I forgot his name. That's really bad. Who actually published it? But people still read that now, but don't realise the other person who's writing the book with him didn't agree with it. They got rid of that bit.
Yeah,
and that's happening all the time.
Things like that do happen all the time. It's and it's. I don't know. I think you just have to be open-minded nowadays. Everything you read, hear, see, every bit of news you watch, all that sort of stuff. Assume 90% of it is not true.
Take it with a pinch of salt.
Everything.
Yeah.
So even when you walk down the road and you see, I don't know, something happening, just assume half of it is staged.
But this is a good sort of thing to think about. Is it like Cry Wolf? Because eventually we just won't believe anything.
That's it.
But it's almost like someone turning the fire alarm off in your house for 6 months at a time. When you actually have a fire, you're not going to bother getting up.
No.
So eventually there'll be news that we actually do listen to, need to, and we don't know what is true and what's not, and we just give up bothering.
I think that's how it is now, though, isn't it? Is it not?
Very close.
Do they not come up nowadays? And you think about all the things. So, typical example, something like global warming. When they started going on about it, where the world was going to be too hot to live on in 5 years' time.
Acid rain.
That's it. Acid rain was
1995, I think.
It was going to kill us all.
Yeah.
And there's been so much to and fro on, it never happened. It's repaired itself. It's done.
Yeah.
Nobody actually. I don't know.
No,
where are we with global warming?
No,
I haven't got a clue.
No.
I don't think anybody does have, because there's so many theories and things out there, but there's no actual
it's
structure.
Called climate change now, because they didn't actually, because it was proved apparently. Again, I'm only going on what I've read.
Apparently, yeah.
That there was no global warming. It was actually coming down now. So instead of calling it global warming, it's called climate change.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's all right, then. It's
gone up and down.
Yep.
But beware, it's changing. It's changing on you. You're not looking.
And so who do you believe? Who do you believe?
I don't believe anyone.
When you look at fake news, I mean, Donald Trump, there's so much fake news out there about him. It's unreal, and people believe it. I mean, the last one I saw was that he'd signed a bill so that you could sack somebody for being gay.
Yeah.
Now, does anybody actually believe
he would be that
there is there's a new law just been passed?
An actual law, not a. That's a bit. I don't like that. An actual law. That's ridiculous. Yeah, of course it is. But then you mix them silly ones in with the ones that might be true, and you don't know.
But then the true ones don't matter anymore, do it? If you put enough fake news out, what you were just saying, if you put enough fake news out, when somebody says, "Oh, Donald Trump's just saved world poverty," everyone will go, "Nah, it's fake news." Yeah, and that's why they do it, and they just put all this fake news out to tarnish his name. And this is why I actually think he's done really well for himself. Is actually, you haven't heard about all of the good things he's done since he's been president. All you've heard is the fake news and the bullshit that goes along with it.
You haven't heard about a lot of things.
And he's been into
life.
countries that no other American president's been into. He's had meetings with people that have never ever wanted to meet anybody from America. In fact, they just want to blow America up. You know, up until this point. So, although those meetings might not have gone as planned, I don't know what's spoken about at the meetings. I don't know if they've solved world peace or anything during that half-hour meeting.
Feel like it.
He's made a connection that nobody else made.
Yeah, no, I find him really funny. I agree with you in a lot of ways. I don't know. And I had a conversation with someone who wrote someone wrote some comments on a Richard Grannon post saying that Richard Grannon was doing this and doing that, manipulating people. And I said to him, everybody is manipulating people in this world, but you will never know the intention of a man. I will never know your intentions, and you'll never know mine, and I'll never know Danny's. You will never know the intentions of anyone in the world, because that's their intentions. That comes from them.
Of course.
You can take a good guess, look at their past behaviour, but you'll never know. And you'll spend your whole life not trusting anyone, or not even... Trust is something that you give, a bridge that you go across and you hope that it sticks. It's not something that's solid. It can't be.
And I think it's another form of conquer and divide, isn't it?
Absolutely. Don't trust anyone.
If you can get everyone to distrust everything they hear, see, and do, then nobody
anything.
will trust anybody. Yeah. Nobody will do anything. Nobody will try and do anything off their own back. They will just live in society as society says.
Well, you'll stop because you don't know which direction to go. And I come out to this, especially conspiracy theories in the music industry, film industry, and there is a glass ceiling, I believe. But then there's times when I think, Am I just making it up? Am I giving myself an excuse not to push myself? So you do question it. If you've got a brain in your head, you'll question your own intellect. And then you take the ego out of it and go, actually, half the time I probably am wrong, but I don't know, and I might not ever know. But it's good laugh, isn't it? It's the only conclusion I can come to.
That is exactly the conclusion everybody should come to. So when you read this stuff, it's a good laugh. Yeah. Read it, laugh about it, laugh at yourself, laugh at other people, and take a little bit from everything. Don't just watch. All I'd say to people, if you want to find out the truth, well, you never will. But what you can do is watch 400 different news channels and take a little bit from everything and make your own mind up, and that's what it's there for. You're never going to actually know 100% truth. So going back to Donald Trump then, what do we like about him?
His hair's real.
His
wife
real?
Cuts his hair. I love the fact that his wife cuts his hair. He's he's billionaire, of course, I'd assume.
Oh, yeah. He's the richest,
And his wife cuts his hair. I love that.
If
you can learn anything from
richest guy
Donald
to ever
Trump,
become president.
It's not what you make, it's what you save.
How many films do you reckon he's been in?
I know he's been in wrestling a lot. I don't know how many films he's been in.
Have a guess at how many films he's been in?
10.
You're not far off, actually.
Really?
12 films he's been in.
Have they listed them?
No, I don't know the films. I could have looked it up before we started.
We could have looked it. Well, I didn't know he'd been in any films, to be honest.
And he's also been in 14 TV series.
As himself?
I think he's just made like appearances in like Friends and stuff like that, hasn't he? Was he in Friends?
I would love to see
I'm guessing he was in Friends.
Yeah,
everyone's been in Friends. They were so desperate. They were so desperate for like
by the end
people towards the end that they he's probably, I'm guessing he's been in Friends.
Yeah. It's like that kid from what's it? Oh no, I've lost the name of it now. He kept popping up everything.
So he's done lots of different stuff. His 10 rules. His rules are good.
What's one of his rules?
Don't do it for the money.
I'm not sure he kind of stands by that one.
He's made money out of it, but did he do it for the money originally?
I think he did it for the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds.
Oh, here we go.
I'm on to you.
It's I think the thing is the money's nice, but you got to have the passion behind it. You got to do something you're passionate about. And if you're not passionate about it, then
you can only keep going for so long.
Yeah, it's very hard.
He once tried to trademark the phrase "you're fired." You can't trademark words, can you? Phrases?
I don't know, but that would have messed up what's his name from The Apprentice, wouldn't it?
I think his was different. Fuck off, I think it was. Get out of here, scamp.
Get out, you little scamp. No, he was. You're fired, wasn't he? That was the whole Apprentice thing, wasn't it? With
because was The Apprentice before he did his one?
I don't know when he tried trademarking that, but that would be highly amusing. But then he done a very similar. Didn't Donald Trump do like a version of The Apprentice first?
Pretty much, yeah. Same.
So
I can't remember what it was called.
That's probably where it's come from. So, rule number 2: never give up. He's certainly not done that.
No,
he's done very well.
I just still find it bizarre that he's president, and his little boy. Have you seen his little boy? It's
all a little bit weird, isn't it?
That kid don't look. He looks angry. That's like an angry Macaulay Culkin.
Don't get me started on that kid.
Oh yeah, well something's gone on there, isn't it?
That's something else. That is.
We can do a whole one on Macaulay Culkin.
Love what you do, and that's very similar to the first one. Just don't do it for the money, but love what you do. That's. I think that's
it's really hard to love what you do though, because you don't love everything about what you do.
No, I don't think you can love everything. I think you can. Your values, as long as what you're doing works in line with your values, I think it's really important. If you're doing stuff that's just not in line with your values, it just shows. Everyone can see it. Just stop doing it.
Yeah.
If you're not actually into it, then I wouldn't.
Well, you won't last very long, will you? His stated worth is somewhere around 10 billion. Just somewhere around.
Somewhere around 10 billion.
Between 50 quid and 10 billion. Yeah.
That'd do though, wouldn't it?
I think I'm in that bracket.
It's not actually that rich though, is it?
Isn't it? Sounds
10
rich.
billion.
Dollars.
It's dollars as well, so
yeah.
less, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just gone down. Oh, yeah, but billion over there is different to over here, isn't it?
Is it?
That's actually quite a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the other way around. It's easier to become billionaire over there. So no, he's not. He's on our wavelength.
Yeah. His full name is Donald John Trump. Why is that funny? I don't know who it is. What a name.
DJT. That must be his number plate, I bet. It's got to be, in it. Yeah. So I mean, well, I'm not saying I like the guy, but I don't think he's anywhere near as bad as everybody makes out. you think is as bad as everybody makes
I
out.
just think no, I don't. I think the people behind him are bad as they.
Why?
make out, but
Okay, to answer this, why did so many people vote for him?
I'm not sure if they did.
Oh,
That's the bottom. I don't think it makes a difference who you vote for. I think it's right. Okay, you go if you play your A team and your B team
hmm
against each other.
yeah.
So you get Norwich A team, Norwich B team. Norwich wins. So if you've got President Trump and Clinton pushed
Yeah.
by the same people, doesn't really matter. You put in
Doesn't matter which one wins.
whoever does what they're told to do. To be honest,
Okay,
better.
All right.
That's my theory.
That's your theory on it. Now this takes us back to The Simpsons, what we started with.
Yeah.
Because there was the voting scandal on The Simpsons. Have you
Yeah.
seen that one where you push one button
No, I've
and
seen
the
that
other?
one, no.
Right. Okay. So you go in. It's when they introduce the electronic voting system,
Yeah.
and so Homer goes in to vote, and I can't remember who the people were on there, but
Sure.
basically you got these little boxes, and you have to push the box you want to vote, and you
Yeah.
push one, and the other one lights up and says "Thank
Yeah.
you for voting." So he does it again. Thank you for voting. And he keeps voting for the other one on the screen.
Yeah.
And again, it's something else that
Yeah.
there's a conspiracy theory that you know, in the Simpsons, this is like 10 years ago,
Mm.
and then like over the last couple of elections, they
Yeah.
reckon it's been going on, and
I
people
think
have
it's been
complained
going on
about
for
it.
a long time. I do genuinely think since JFK, there's not been a president that's actually been doing what they say they're doing.
Mm.
Some real nasty prime ministers and presidents.
Well, I
Bush
think
was a psychopath.
possibly this could be the change, though, couldn't it?
I hope so.
I
I'd like to
think
think
it
so.
possibly is.
If anything, he's hilarious.
Well, yeah, everyone's
For
having
me,
a good laugh,
anyway,
if nothing
to be
else.
honest,
Yeah.
it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And someone out there's going to go, "Can't believe you laugh at him. He's kidding." So, well, I find
Laugh about it.
he's-
Learn to laugh about it, guys, because you know
Yeah.
you
It's
can't
like,
take it
come
seriously
on.
because you
Don't
can't
take-
affect it, you can't change it, you can't do anything. You've just got to go with it. What's the chance of him getting voted in again in 4 years' time? Or
Well, it depends
2 years' time?
who else is going to go against him.
Okay.
I wouldn't have thought it'd be Hillary Clinton. I don't think she'll
No,
still
I
be
think
with
she'll
us.
give up.
Yeah.
She'll give up by then.
She's she's
What
not
about,
well, is she?
what
You've seen her
Obama's-
do that head
What about
thing?
Obama's missus?
She does that head. Do you see that on the video? She goes- you see that? I'll show you the clip later.
Okay.
She's just completely,
Yeah,
almost
no.
like an epileptic fit.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's horrific.
It's just funnier when you do
A
it.
lizard tongue.
Oh, we're onto lizards. Oh no.
I knew we'd get there eventually. I held back as much as I could. I don't know, depending on who he's against.
Okay.
But I don't think it really matters.
No.
If that's my opinion, I don't think it matters. I could be completely wrong. I don't know. It's fun, isn't it? We're all right.
So what's he done well? So
okay,
okay, let's go back. Let's ignore the fact he's president.
He's done the wrestling all right. I enjoyed that.
And you enjoyed the wrestling, which is cool. And he's been in a few films,
Yeah.
which is all good. Let's go back to Build Your Own Rome.
Yeah.
Because we haven't actually started
We
that.
kind of have a little bit.
What good has he done? How did he become
Well, he
so good?
started. I remember when he first started, and he said, "I didn't get anything given to me. I was given £1 million and told to just make that work."
Yeah. I mean,
That
it's,
doesn't kind. And I
it's a
don't
bad day in your life when your parents only give you £1 million
It's a
quid.
shit day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I mean, I think my dad bought me a car.
I don't think I can't drive, so if you bought me a car, it's useless.
but
But
yeah,
still.
I think.
And
you know,
but the way he said it on news, I don't know. It was kind
Yeah.
of you still again. You don't know what.
I
you
started
put
with
aside.
nothing. All I had was
The
£1 million
£1
quid.
If I hang on, what did you just say? Just £1 million.
Rewind that bit.
Can you hear yourself talking? Do you hear yourself? Like, is it when you comes out your mouth? Does it go back in the ears? Like, £1 million quite a lot of money,
Not if your parents have got billions.
but it still is.
I think it depends on your.
It's still a lot of money. It
Well.
depends on how much you're spending.
Yeah, and it was a very. I mean, for him as well, it was a very lucrative time because just you look at what's happened to house or value of property over the years, and in that time, and there's a lot of people who made it. Warren
How did he
Buffett
make
and
his
people
money?
like that. It's mainly property, isn't it?
Was it
and-
casinos as well?
Do you know what? I think he's one of those guys that has just been into a bit of everything, and I
Mm.
think there's probably lots of things he shouldn't have been involved in that he has been, and things like that. Which you'll never know
No.
the truth about, but he's made some good money out of it and worked. I mean, he's worked really hard. He's built up
Yeah,
an
yeah.
empire. He's got some really good rules for success. And like I say, wasn't that long ago, people were begging him to run for president.
Well,
so,
exactly. And then
he was,
and he gets
was doing
voted
very
in,
well.
and you think, "Oh God damn it! Well, stop voting then." But it doesn't make any difference if you do or you don't.
There
You're
you
damned
go.
if you do. You're damned if you don't. That was in The Simpsons. Bart said it.
Yeah,
They
he
know.
did. Yeah, they do know. They
Yeah,
do know.
they do know.
Yeah.
So, what conclusion we come? Just watch The Simpsons.
Actually, yeah, just watch The Simpsons. Just watch Simpsons each week, and you'll know what's going to happen in 5 years' time.
Yeah, it's just like the news, but quicker.
Are they still making The Simpsons? It's finished, no?
I don't know. Do they still make The Simpsons, Danny?
I used to watch it on Sky One all the time, but I haven't seen it for a long
I
while.
haven't seen it for a long time, no. I think they still do.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Well, guys,
Yeah.
that has been Build Your Own Rome. That's been a good episode. It's a bit more cheery than last week's.
What was, oh, yeah,
Last week we had a proper serious conversation,
Serious
didn't we?
conversation, but yeah, this week
About life.
we're just talking about Donald Trump. Okay, yeah, and you cannot talk about Donald Trump, take it seriously.
Without smiling.
Without smiling.
Which, if he's done anything in the world that he's made you laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite poignant.
Did you see him with the Queen the other day?
It was hilarious. That was really weird.
He's taking his mum for a walk.
You see it? It was like care home. It's like they've let
People are up in arms about it, about how he walked in front of her and stuff. And this
What?
is the
Well,
point.
of course you got to walk in front. She's 89. She ain't going to get behind you.
But
Like,
you've
in
got,
front of you.
but you've got all these old rules where, do you know, if you sit down for a meal with the Queen, when the Queen takes her last bite of food, you have to stop eating.
Fuck me, I'd end up about 3 peas or I
Well,
wouldn't
it's
eat a
just-
lot, would I?
Yeah, but I mean, again,
Yeah.
it's back to these old stupid rules that
Oh,
are
it's
500
ridiculous.
years old.
You
that
can't
just
enter a
don't.
room.
Does it really
before
bloody
her?
matter?
There's something about her.
She has to be in a room
she's
waiting
the last
for you, or
person.
the last,
No, she has to be the
last person into the room.
Yeah, that was the same
Yeah.
with the wedding.
So if
but
you're
she actually
late,
didn't.
what are you going to do?
Don't go
Sit
in.
outside. You're not allowed in.
Outside.
Oh,
Am I
load
late
of-
for this?
load of
What about
bollocks.
next week? Am I early for next week's party?
So
Absolutely
yeah,
ridiculous.
another
Yeah.
example of rules that just really are silly. I mean, I think that was a very well placed camera and a very well timed bit of
Yeah.
filming, and they've
Oh, it's
cut
ridiculous.
that
Is it
5 seconds
Yeah.
out to try and make him look shit again. And it's like, does anyone care? I don't care if he walks in front. Does the
course you
Queen
don't.
actually care?
She won't
I
even
think
know
it
where
was a
she
bit.
is.
It was a bit of an awkward situation, but
I
does,
don't think
does
the
she
Queen's
care?
known. I think the last thing the Queen remembers was Diana in the tunnel.
Mm.
That's it. Nothing
That's it.
else.
Nothing
Can't
else
remember
since.
anything else. Maybe a little bit of
There's been a few
Prince.
weddings.
She
And
probably
that since,
probably has to have a little look at William's hair and gone, where's that gone? And she realised a passage of time has gone past because there's less hair there.
but that's it.
And then from behind, sometimes she can't tell if it's her husband or her grandson. Other than that, I don't think she knows what's going on.
Okay.
Mm.
But yeah, so I don't think she was overly bothered that he took a few steps in. And to be fair, he took a few steps, realised he was in front, stopped and waited for her, didn't he?
Yeah, like a nice man.
She decided she was going to walk round the other side of him.
Did she?
Yeah. So she was a bit all over the place. So.
It said. Should we leave it there before we get in more trouble?
Wow, that's a good thing about podcasts, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can just say what we want.
You can say what you want anyway.
We're back
really,
to that
can't
thing where people just take offence, and it's like, well,
Yeah. Okay, take
Hasn't
offence.
changed.
I'm really not bothered anymore, and that's the point. Is that'll run out. People won't care whether
No.
you're offended. Get these keyboard warriors putting comments on everything.
oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
no.
offended by
Ooh.
that. Yeah, it's like I don't know what to say.
Anyway, sign us out. Come on.
All right, guys. So this has been How to Build Your Own Rome and Donald Trump. We've gone through his top 10 rules for success. We haven't. We've just talked about his hair and the Queen a lot, and how he's built his own Rome. We're not quite sure. Could have been done right. Could have been done a bit dodgy. But take what you will from that. We are successful.com. Pop there. We are passionate about safe self-development. We are Successful Global on all social media platforms. And we will see you next episode, which will
Episode
be
12.
episode 12. That was hard.